Hello everybody, welcome back to another video from the Deckmates. This is Braden coming at you with a deck profile for my blue-green Ash Tempo deck, I would like to call it. So let's get into it real quick. So we got Jemial as our champion. I think he's still a very viable champion. Basically, you can place one counter on the card every time a water unit comes into play, and then you can remove 3 to draw 2 and then discard 1. So basically you just get to your pieces faster with him. That's all he's really there for, to be honest, is the draw power that he brings to the deck. And then Kyte is basically just there to bounce your things, and I'll get into exactly what we are bouncing with him in a few seconds here, because I only run 5 green cards, I believe, not the 8. So first we will talk about the green cards that I do run. I run 1 Garga due to his really good arrive skill. You can choose a cost and return all units of the chosen cost to the owner's hands. If 2 or more units are returned to the hand with this effect, it gains quickness. It's a 5-drop, so with this deck we're trying to gain a lot of tempo so that we can kind of just win the game. So I wanted something that had quickness and well, hopefully has quickness and can wrap up games for us. So he was the answer for that. The next card for green is Skytree Hawk. He is our secondary draw power for the deck. So when it's returned to your hand from the field, you can discard this card and draw 2. So basically that's what you're going to be using Kyte for, is just to filter through cards so you can get to the things you need. Because with Ash, which is like the main focus of the deck, basically, you just want to draw into your spells so you can start buffing up your towers with them. And I'll get into Ash quickly here. So actually I only run 4 green cards, to be honest. Like Kyte is only really there for just the bounce effect. I run 2 Ash right now, probably bump them up to 3 once I get my 3rd one. Right now I only have 2, so we're just testing with 2 just to see how it goes. So his effect is, when you play a water spell, you can place a ice wall counter on target non-destroyed tower you control, and the towers gain +5. So that's just really important, to be honest, because, you know, tower, like a 15 tower is now going to be a 2000 tower, and this deck is basically just about keeping your towers safe, I guess. So as a 3-drop for 2000, I think he's just incredible. If you have the means to get this card, I think you should invest in it. It's very good. And then he has a secondary effect: remove all ice wall counters from all towers you own and deal damage to target unit equal to the number of counters removed. So you can remove as many counters as you have with all the cheap spells that you have for blue. You might have quite a bit, and you can deal, you know, if you remove 4, that's 2,000 that you're dealing to something. I mean, he's just incredible, to be honest. So yeah, I would like to run 3, but at the moment we only have 2. So I'll probably bump it up to 3 though, and take something else out, which I'll talk about in a bit here. Next, for some Argent cards, we just run 3 Argent Egg. I just think this card is too good not to run. Basically, cheap cards that get another cheap card is basically the name of any type of game like this. So you pay 1 mana for or 1 shard, I mean, for a 500 Guardian, which protects your towers. And then if they kill it, you get a Whelp token, which can test towers, which is, in my opinion, like the best thing that you can do is just test a tower to see which one it is, and then go from there and make your game plan based on what you see on your opponent's field, you know? So I just think that this card is just insane. Like Argent Egg, I think, is one of the best cards, to be honest. It's just a 1-drop, just super, super good. And then we run 1 Professor, what's his name again? Professor Rudy, the magical engineer. Basically, like, arrive effects that trigger twice is too good not to run this, because we have quite a bit of arrive effects in this deck. So, I mean, being able to run this is just an extra added bonus, I guess, because 3 mana, 2000 is already good by itself, but then being able to have 2 arrive effects for some of our cards are just really, really strong, especially for our, our 6-drop if this guy stays out. And then we drop our Stormcaster, the Azure Tower. It's just, yeah, it just can really annihilate opponents' boards. Next, we run 2 Great Stormfish. So yeah, he has an arrive effect as well. You can exhaust target unit, and then when it's ruined, you can return target unit to the top of the owner's deck. Nothing more to say about that. It's just a really good card all around. 3 mana... or 3 shard. I keep saying mana, but I guess it doesn't really matter that much. 3 cost, 1500 with 2 really good effects. I mean, just I can run it at 2. I don't really have room for 3, I guess. And then we have 2 Stormcaster. Just a really, really good finisher card. So when you play it, you can only if there's a destroy water tower, that is, return up to 2 target units your opponent controls to the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. So I mean, if you have Rudy out, you get to return 4 if they have that. But towards the late game, most boards are going to be pretty developed, so this just might win you the game straight up. So I mean, there's no reason not to play it. And then right now I'm testing 2 Chronostasis, which is a 6 mana instacast, place all units on the field at the bottom of their owner's decks in any order you choose. Basically, I just wanted to make sure that there's some more of an answer to, if somebody overcommits. 6 mana is kind of hefty, but this deck kind of is just a stall. Well, I wouldn't say it's like super, super stally, but your towers are going to be beefy, most likely if you can get your ashes out there. So I just think it's a decent card. Also, we run 2 Cryptic Secret. You can only play if there's a destroyed light or water tower, and then you shuffle target unit back into the owner's deck. Shuffling into the deck is very, very good, especially with Ergon very much in the meta. If they're putting stuff on top and then you play this and shuffle their deck, they don't get that card that's on top. So I just think this is definitely a necessity while Ergon is still in the meta. So if you're playing blue, you should play this because it shuffles your opponent's deck. We run 1 Mayu, Grand Sorceress. She's the legendary for blue, and when she arrives, you can return target spell in your discard zone to your hand, and if you do, the next spell you play this turn costs 0. So if you do need to use like Chronostasis, it's a 0 cost return everything. So I just think that that's also really, really good. Otherwise, basically all the other spells that you have are just really good. Blue just has a lot of really, really good value spells, so any spell that you play for 0 is going to be worth it. So I mean, she's just a really good inclusion. A lot of stuff is going to be 6 mana here, so I mean that's almost probably about the top of your curve, because You don't really need to play anything more than that. So if you need to shard drain while you're at 6 or 7, that's fine. So, and then we run 3 of maybe the best card. I mean, it's pretty good. If you want to stall your opponent out, or if you just need like another turn to like set something up that's going to be big, you just, before they start attacking, just play that down for 4, boom, exhaust all your opponent's units. It's too good. Like, Shards of Winter is just nuts. And then, for another cheap spell, we play 3 Phantasmal Guards. It's really good, 1 mana to get 2 500 Guardians. Even if they can't attack, it doesn't really matter. You have 2 Guardians, they can just chump block. Very good. And it just sets up for your Ash. And then 3 of Ancient Serpent's Breath, staple blue. I mean, why would you not run this card? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's an instacast, and you can shard drain 1 on top of it, and then basically, so the first effect is that you return target unit with cost 2 or less to its owner's hand. Then the owner draws 1 card. And then if you shard drain, you can return target unit to the top of its owner's deck. So that in and of itself is just a very strong effect. Being able to bounce 2 things, even if the person draws another card, if you overdraw them, then it's still definitely worth it. But yeah, this card is just insane. And then we run 3 Tidal Rush. I think this card is actually super good. It's an instacast 3. As an additional cost, you can shard drain 1, and if you do, return target unit to its owner's hand. And the first effect of it is return target unit to its owner's hand, then draw 1 card. But this time, you draw the card, not whoever gets the card bounced. So, I mean, 3 mana to return a unit and then draw a card is just very good. I think this is definitely a staple. Right now I only run 2 Omega Magic Mizu. The reason being, you are trying to keep your towers alive, so having 2 or less is probably not your game plan, most likely. So paying 2 mana to draw a card or exhaust a unit or return target unit to its owner's hand if it's exhausted is still really good. So I still want to run it, but I just don't know if 3 is the correct answer yet. But we'll test it and see exactly how well it does. And then we play 3 Azure Guardian. I still think it's just a really good card on 2 mana for a 2000 Guardian that can block attacks and maybe stall your opponent for a couple turns as they're trying to get something that can go over it. I just think it's very good. I would just run it at 3 no matter what, I guess. Testing this out to see how well it does. I really like it, actually. Mr. Kins, it can get you cards that you want. You can look at the top 2 cards when it arrives and put them back in any order. I mean, it doesn't combo very well with Rudy, giving it double arrive, because I mean, you just look at the cards and look at them again. But you want to use this early game so you can start looking at what you got coming to see if you want to draw them with Jemial. And then it has an exhaust effect to draw a card and then return this unit to the top of the owner's deck. So I mean, it has reusability. I think it's just a decent card. And then we run the the 1-drop staple. I think Azure Seer is definitely just a staple card. It's a 1-drop 1000. I mean, you don't get much better than that. You need 1-drops for early game. There's not much more to say about that. You just run this at 3 if you're running blue, no matter what. And then the last card to round out the deck is 3 Shard Hoarders. Reason being is that, if you do get Rudy out early and you play this, you just, 2 mana to draw 2 cards and have a 1000 beater is just insane. Very good value. And even just by itself, like 2 mana to draw a card and have a body on the field is just very, very good. So yeah, I definitely recommend running this. So other than that, we haven't really tested this deck much. This is kind of just something I theory crafted, but I think it's going to do well. I don't know how well it's going to do in the meta, I guess, but I really, really like Ash, and I think, I think it's a very, very good card. Like I said, I will probably be running it at 3, and I'll most likely cut a Mr. Kins for it, just because Mr. Kins is good and all, but like he just provides a lot more value. This is a 1-drop that you can use early, but I still have 2 of those plus 3 of the, plus 3 Azure Seers. So I think, I still think the deck has a lot of value. So in terms of like tempo swings, you're being able to use this in conjunction with a bunch of your smaller spells, and you can just have some really big turns. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much wraps up the deck. And if you guys have any questions or want us to do any other deck profiles, just let us know. And we'll be doing more deck profiles and probably some gameplay pretty soon here. So just leave a like and subscribe so that we can keep creating more and more content for you guys. And yeah, peace out.